Hey, so today I'm going to talk about sales, which is a whole thing, isn't it? It's like a weird thing that not everyone really is. They haven't got a great reputation, salespeople. But I've had to learn a lot running my own business for the last 5 years, and I think I've got an approach that I find a bit, I think works for everyone. And then I've also just got a load of news on like Shoot Video Pencil and lots of people using it in exciting ways that I'm going to show you this week. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Square's TV App Lab number 93, where we talk about ways to improve your remote communication abilities. This is a lab on After Hours and going out live on YouTube. I'm Michael Forrest. I make Video Pencil, Shoot and CueCam Presenter, among lots of other things, on my computer, music and videos and hardware. But yeah, let's start off with this week's updates. So, first thing is, it's a bleeding edge CueCam still, but I've been sort of working on the transitions. I've been working on some other stuff. I got very tripped up earlier by some I tried voice isolation in my Mac microphone because I'd been away for a few days, and I was trying it with different setups, and I really tripped myself up trying to get ready for this. Also, you'll notice that maybe I didn't write the intro for today. I wrote it on the post, I wrote it on the thing, but I forgot to copy it into the doc. But yeah, so I've been sort of fighting with the technology a bit, but so hopefully we'll have a stable session today, and hopefully you'll see a little bit of things looking a bit more polished here and there. Maybe things looking worse in other places. There's this thing where it's kind of cutting, it's kind of flashing half the video on screen for some reason that I need to get to the bottom of. But yeah, that's just a little caveat for today. But yeah, first thing I wanted to talk about was the Johns at DET, which is the Johns, During and Ittelson presented CueCam on stage at the Drivers of Educational Technology California Higher Education Conference. And I thought I'd just share, the video is up on the Discord and stuff, but I just thought I'd share a couple of my favourite moments.
So we're going to talk about real-world engagement. John and I are failing retirement, and during COVID we met, trying to figure out how to use Zoom and meet some of the needs of organizations we were with. I was helping CSU even though I was retired from Cal State Monterey Bay. And when I was teaching at Cal State Monterey Bay, and I was a big distance learner.
I have just...
Who has a Mac? Working with
Case in point, it didn't jump to the right place when I started playing that, so maybe my clips aren't going to work. Let's see.
Okay, so guys in the windows people here. People did a disclaimer. So I'm going to do my disclaimer. This is a little bit like the people that did the disclaimers around the dirty words. How many are Apple fan people here? Okay, how many are stuck in the Windows? Working Windows world. Okay, so guys in the Windows world, you could put your head down on the table. We'll wake you up when it's over. No.
Everybody who has a Mac or uses PCs, they know somebody who uses Macs. So this does work for people you know.
Okay.
So there you go. And then let's see if it jumps to the right bot. But I thought John did a very kind, I don't know, it's interesting to find out how you're kind of seen by other people. So hopefully it jumps to the bit, but I thought this was nice as well.
So we're going to talk about real world engagement.
Yeah, no, it didn't
John
jump.
And I are failing.
Was it here? Let's try this.
Well, gee, you'd want sound also.
Yeah, it was here somewhere.
In the clubs. Developer, by the way, it used to take an army of people to build something like this. And this is a single practitioner. He used to be a music DJ doing electronic stuff in the clubs, putting up video and whatever. And John and I have been working with him John says, what about presentations for classrooms? Oh, I'd love to do that. And my contribution was basically say, I need 3 cameras. I want to have a shot of my face, I want to have an over-the-shoulder shot, and I want to have something coming off the screen, anything that's coming there. And he comes back and says, well, gee, you'd want sound also. I go, oh, yes, absolutely. So it's your ability to specify what you need is really the requirement. If you can work and articulate exactly why it's important for him to build what he's building, he will build it. And he's remarkably quick and updating things and adjusting and learning what your use case is and building for you. So I feel that this has been built custom for me.
So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I will put stuff in. I just need to know like why. And I've actually just had a conversation about in-camera recording for shoot for as an example of this, which I literally implemented like 2 years ago, but then I was like, I cannot think of a reason people would use this. So I took it out because I didn't know what the tutorial would be. And then I'm just hearing like, actually, like when you're doing like a multi-camera Zoom recording, then you have to, some editors require in-camera video recordings. So yeah, like then so that just means I can go in and I've got a reason. I can say, okay, this is why we need this, and now recording in shoot, and let's just add it, because it's this constant fight against something becoming overcomplicated because you're sort of adding in every kitchen sink feature and not really knowing why. But that's why. Anyway, in other news, Video Pencil. I think I fixed 2 really major, long-standing, impossible problems, and you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to explain how. So crash 1, NDI. So I have learned a lot about high-performance audio-video programming over the last 12 months as I've been trying to get CueCam Presenter perfect, and there are a lot of things that I didn't know when I added NDI to Video Pencil. So I'm going to tell you, like, developing for iOS, it involves a few different programming languages. You've got Swift, which is a modern programming language, lots of changes over the last few years. Objective-C was basically developed for Next Step in the 80s by, Steve Jobs' team. And I just hear a thing on eCam, which means I've just got to check that it's not someone telling me something has gone horribly wrong. Okay. And then like you've got C++, which is sort of low level. It's been around since the 70s, and this is really where you want to be for like high performance programming. So NDI basically gives you a lot of those C calls, but like I found it all a bit scary. So for Video Pencil, I was like, okay, well, I want to wrap them up in an object-oriented way that I can use, so that I can just go, here's my NDI thing, and then I go, okay, send you a thing, send you a thing, and you'll kind of deal with all that C stuff, and it's all a bit scary. So, but I thought you had to kind of so I've got like Swift going into Objective-C, going into C, and actually there's quite a lot of overhead to these interfaces. So I've been thinking, and as I've learned more about Swift, even like actually Swift can connect directly to C, and that's something I didn't know about. So what I've done is basically it worked okay, but all the I've just really appreciated that performance thing for those direct things. So what I've actually done is completely replaced how I've done NDI in Video Pencil. I ripped out all the old stuff, all the indirection, all the object-oriented stuff, and just put it in Swift, and now it's like much more direct calls, and it means that I can sort of like, the memory management is safer, the crashes are going to be a lot more easy to figure out, and the concurrency stuff is going to work. So basically, that's the slightly nerdy, probably like you fell asleep and just tuned out and disconnected, but I just have to tell someone. So yeah, I checked it, it works properly, and now like if anything weird does happen, I know exactly where it is, and there's much less kind of indirection and margin for error. This is another problem that has been given me trouble for ages. Look how many different devices, 132 different devices have had this crash, and it's just like I've been getting bad reviews, and it's like I haven't been able to make it happen. And I finally had a bit of a breakthrough actually yesterday, because I always try and test on real devices because that's what you're supposed to do. There's no point testing on the iOS simulator, which is how you can develop on the computer instead of having to have a device. But I thought maybe it will crash the simulator. And that took a bit of work to actually run it in the simulator, because NDI, again, like causes problems there because it doesn't support the simulator, and then you can't run it, and you have to do all the special weird dark stuff. So I was with ChatGPT going, how do you conditionally do this? And, compile the framework. But luckily I've learned how to do that, and I ran it in the simulator, and it crashed on the first one I tried. And I was able to see exactly what happened, and the idea that I thought might fix it, I was able to immediately test, and it worked. So now there's a new build that I'm just waiting to be approved by Apple any minute now, which fixes basically the NDI stability problem of it sort of losing it and kind of like going weird, and the just crash on startup that could happen sometimes on some devices. So I'm very happy about that. And also, because of the magic of CueCam, I've documented all this as part of my Swift AV mastery course that I'm working on. So I'm just working on a really, really advanced Swift programming course, and it's nice to be able to sort of pull up a CueCam document and just put in some screenshots as I go, and know that I'm going to be able to turn that into a video when I get a minute for nerds. So yeah, the other thing I'm excited about is that Cindy Drozda, who has started using Video Pencil for her wood turning sessions. I'm very excited about this because she's been a major inspiration for. So the way we do the green screen, I lifted directly from Cindy's style. I really like how she appears sort of overlaid, and then when she's full screen, she's got her work. So I'm on a green screen, but this is the room I'm in, right? So I really liked how that looked, so I just brought it straight into CueCam. So that's how the green screen works in CueCam, and so I was excited to sort of see her using it. And she actually sort of she uses it for the question and answer bit. So here's a little clip of her using it.
Mike, think I wanted to do that. Oh, and look at this. We make our box like this here. We've got some inlay blanks on the sides, or bottle stopper blanks, or maybe a pen blank or two. So it's not like it goes to waste. On the top of this box here, if you make your boxes oriented this way, you get burl on the top. I like the burl on the side here better because this figure is a little large for the
Yeah, so how cool is that? Right, other news, CueCam Presenter. I'm really excited to show you how it's looking, but it's definitely going to be the new year before the new version comes out, because there are so many little things to figure out, but I'm so pleased with how, so many user interface problems I've resolved. The editor is feeling so much more natural. The transitions are starting to come together. I'm even coming up with some designs, font pairing stuff, which I sort of got distracted by yesterday. And then just the dashboard, the camera view is now just feeling so tight. I'm really happy with how it's coming together. So looking forward to being able to share that with you, but it's I've sort of made the toolbar customizable, so that you could put different shortcuts on there, and then that caused knock-on effects today. And it's a bit scary. Let's just I see Tony says iOS 18.2 release today. I mean, you should be fine. If there's any problems with iOS 8, there shouldn't be anything with iOS 18.2. I would be very surprised, especially with Video Pencil on the latest changes. I don't see. I haven't tested though, so what am I on here? Yeah, I can't imagine there would be a problem, but you never know with Apple. We'll see. But I've actually got some shoot news this week as well, which is quite exciting. I had a bit of correspondence with the creators of VDMX last week, which is an app for doing fancy sound reactive visuals on stage, and basically VJing app that's it's quite advanced. My studio mate back in Kilburn is sort of been using it for years and years for sort of big productions. But there was a crash when using it with Shoot's NDI feed, and I sort of went back and forth with them. It did turn out it was all on their end, so I didn't actually have to do anything. But it did get me looking back at my implementation and really kind of going, did I do this? And going back to that Video Pencil thing, with all the indirection, some stuff was literally working by accident, right? And it's just just make sure that I really understand what's going on. But check the guy that, so I had the company emailing me and the guy that had the problem, but he shared a little clip of how he's using Shoot, and I just wanted to sort of show you a little bit of that now, because look at this.
In the darkness, a hidden signal flow.
Crazy, right? I love that it's also part of the shot. That recording is really good as well. So Shoot, reliable enough to use in some pretty sort of high octane environments. But yeah, I have promised you some. So that's all the updates, I think. So I've promised you some stuff about sales. So I'm just gonna because really CueCam came out of a conversation with someone whose job is sales. So it's been something that I've been wanting to flesh out for a while. But I'm just going to start by talking about how I think about sales as a solopreneur. So I think like a salesperson evokes a certain image of someone like a little bit slick, maybe probably lying. Like this is out of, what's it called? It's an Apple TV show. Or maybe just like desperate, like here's Glenn Ross, give me the leads, or whatever he's saying there. You sort of like picture people that are just on the edge of insanity, kind of like on the edge of reality. But I think having learned a bit about it myself and done it for a little bit, that I think the non-sleazy way to do it is by thinking about how you can help somebody else with the thing you've got, right? You don't need to sell anybody something that they don't want, but if they do want it, then actually paying for it is much easier as a relationship than if you like did it for them for free and then they sort of owe you a favor, and you know, that sort of social reciprocity. Like money is, you know, like there's benefits to selling someone something, rather than like, you know, everything's, you know, sort of done in a more social way. So I'm kind of happy with it. I've sort of like resigned myself that way, but it really does come down to the relationships between you and someone else. So it's much easier to trust someone that you know a bit better. And it sort of depends on the kind of sales, but I'm talking about maybe you're kind of like doing B2B, like selling into another business, or you're kind of like, you've got like a slightly higher priced thing, and like you have to have a bit have to have a sort of bit of a rapport with your customer in order to kind of like get them over that hurdle. But yeah, I'm going to jump into this is the blog post. I'm going to jump into this now, and this is my supercharged sales calls presentation. So long gone are the days where you could just turn up to somebody's front door with a suitcase full of samples and expect to have a conversation, let alone sell them anything that way. But we still have a chance to make face-to-face personal connections with our prospective customers. Since 2020, we're all a lot more comfortable with remote video, and most people are used to Zoom and Teams. But you can't just expect to turn on your webcam and gain someone's trust. You need to look the part. And this doesn't mean wearing a suit and tie, but you should look presentable. And doing this on remote video means something a little different than a sharp wardrobe. You need to look and sound crisp and clear. This means using a decent microphone, a decent webcam, and maybe even some decent lighting. If you use whatever happened to come built into your computer, you're probably missing an opportunity to impress, right? So just as you wouldn't turn up to someone's door in sweatpants, you shouldn't turn up to a video call with a bad network connection, bad lighting, bad audio, or a bad camera. But it doesn't stop there, right? What if you want to go beyond hand waving and sort of like start sketching out ideas, or share your screen, or you know, show a short presentation? Sure, you can share a PowerPoint using screen sharing, but it's an incredibly impersonal way to communicate, in my opinion. Your face disappears into a little tile. Your slides are going to dominate. That can be pretty boring. I think it detracts from your credibility a bit, because you're not really like creating that personal connection, and probably like you're making people squint at some tiny text on a small device, and generally I think increasing a sense of disconnection instead of fostering a real relationship. Just sort of like imagine being face to face with someone and then like wheeling out a big like whiteboard or TV or something and basically sort of hiding behind it, like shouting from behind it. And it doesn't really matter how cool it looks. It's like, well, yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to your like thing. And that's sort of the Zoom experience. That's how I think about that Zoom experience. But like the magic of remote video is that you can bring 100 years of the language of film and television, design and motion graphics right into your communication in ways that would be impossible face to face. This is why it's like being in real life, but better, right? Like you can bring all of that stuff. And you know, many brave souls have embraced software like OBS and eCam Live to bring this kind of production value to their webcam. And other people use simpler stuff like or Camo to just sort of add something. But I think these tools are either too complicated to learn or too limited to help you tell a good story. And that's where CueCam Presenter comes in. So face-to-face, it's face-to-face but extra. So CueCam is, like thinking about it like this, it's a little shim for your camera and mic that you can fire up and forget about. Right, until the moment it strikes you that maybe a sketch might, maybe we'd like to, add a little sketch as part of this conversation. Or that maybe you just want to quickly show a video or share your screen, or even just quickly show a picture. Like how awkward is that using screen sharing? But here I can just be like, oh, let's just drag this picture of here's the thumbnail from today. I'm just going to drag it on, and there it is. And I can, sort of come aside and do all this stuff. It's just like you can do that, but you don't do it very often, but then it's just there when you need it, and you can hopefully sort of not worry about it too much. And this is all about not breaking the flow of the conversation. Just, grab your iPad and start drawing, drag in a video from the desktop, or a picture. You can just literally copy and paste a picture from anywhere. It's just going to show up right there. And then, this is good for individuals or companies. You can use the gear you already have. I've talked about you need to upgrade your camera. I'm on a sort of Canon R6 here, but if your team has some Apple devices, then CueCam just brings these devices together. So you can use an iPad to draw on the camera, or use a laser pointer, or just sort of highlight whatever you're sharing. And you can use your iPhone or another iPad as your camera to see who you're talking to. So you're sort of here, this is you, and then this is your laptop. You've got CueCam on there, and then you've got Shoot up there. It's sort of on a tripod or whatever. You can see the person you're talking to there, right? And you can also, if you've got notes here, you can also see them up there too. So CueCam's, so that's the sort of real-time sharing stuff, and they're just the tip of the iceberg, right? That's the stuff that you can just casually do. Bring it in. I just want to quickly show something. Don't want to have to ask for screen sharing. I don't want to have to muck about, text you the picture, email. Literally, you have to email someone a picture to sort of share it, or put the picture in chat, and it just breaks the flow of the conversation. And that's the sort of shim part, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. Because you can gather your notes and build a smart script that you can run through with one button, like I'm doing now to present this, which lets you jump between your camera and a website and a video and a picture, and immersive slides that appear picture in picture. You've seen them on here. All just without breaking that flow. So it makes it really easy to collect all the notes you need for yourself and to bring in the right thing at the right moment without faffing about. There's also collaborative possibilities. If your company has a repository of videos and images to support your sales team, you can share decks based on these assets with CueCam Presenter. But these aren't just PowerPoints. These are immersive, interactive sales tools that just haven't really been possible to create until now. I had a conversation about trying to use OBS as part of a sales force. You just, how do you share stuff? How do you share an OBS template? It's a nightmare. But CueCam was designed to make it so one person can put something together and email it to someone else, or send a file share link, and that person could just do that same presentation, and with all of this kind of immersive stuff going on. I think CueCam's great for companies, because if you do have a sales team, you can give everyone you can buy licenses for everyone at once with CueCam seat-based licensing. You can get as many seats as you like and give each person their own, or you can play musical chairs if you want. So you can just get 3 and remove, add. I'm not going to be fussy about that. But yeah, so you can someone gets fired, someone gets hired. It's very easy to just juggle those licenses. I've got a great user interface on the website for that. And just to say, why does CueCam exist? I made CueCam and all its predecessors really because I was tired of how awkward it is to show things using video on the internet. I wanted to show music I was working on, code I was working on. I wanted to run live streams. I wanted to record video podcasts with some production value, with video clips and music breaks, that kind of thing. And, isn't that, I'm a technical person. And I've used OBS since 2014, Ecamm since 2021, I guess. So I know how to work all this stuff, but I hate the overhead and configure it, and the configuration that you have to do just to show something sometimes. I just want to be able to say hey, look at this, and not have to think about setting up a scene and right click 6 times. I just want to go, okay, share desktop. Okay, come back. I've got the sound. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to install a weird loop back thing and turn that on, and the audio part of it. I've really done a lot of work on in CueCam, and I think that's really one of the things. So, doesn't that sound good? Just, for anything really. It's sort of, I've made something that works for really simple stuff. I just want to show a picture, but it goes deep. It goes all the way to, I'm in the middle of this Ableton Live session and I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of this video edit. I want to show you where I'm up to, and just scan through, and all the sound, all the video is going to come through, and it's going to be really seamless. So I thought I'd share some tips for success, 5 tips for success. So as a salesperson, like how are you going to use CueCam? So the first thing is I would create a CueCam doc for each call that you're going to make, or each customer at least. But I think the call. So the first card should have that like important information about the customer taken from your notes or from your CRM tool. And you could even automate this because it's like CueCam is basically Markdown. So if you had a browser extension with whatever CRM you're using, like we could just like download a CueCam document off that. But you know, if that's something you'd want to talk about, then just get in touch with me and I'll help. I'll sort of put something together for whatever CRM you have. And then imagine just navigating to your customer's profile and just going download, create new CueCam document with the browser extension. It just like fires up a thing. It puts all the pertinent information in, like we could do that really easily. And, when you do have this, you've got your notes, you don't have to follow it as a script. It's just a really good way to gather thoughts and prepare, right? Like, don't forget to say this. Oh, and, here's some things that we've got. You can just like put your notes together and they're just going to be in your eye line as you're talking to someone. The next thing I would suggest is just pre-record demos. Bring demos as videos wherever possible. This way you can annotate and narrate the footage without worrying about technical hiccups so much. And if something isn't clear, you can sort of scrub back, either just on the Mac or like Video Pencil makes it really easy to sort of shuttle back and forth. And then you can draw, zoom in, and just like clarify stuff in a way. It's a bit harder to do real time. You could do it real time as well, but I would say like it's good practice to have some recordings. I would say use Shoot as your webcam, screen and teleprompter. So with Shoot, you running on your iPhone or iPad on a stand, you'll get a few benefits. So the iPhone's camera is much better than your laptop's camera. And you can also put it at eye level instead of someone sort of like looking up at you from below. Like just compare, like this is my laptop camera. Like you're sort of underneath, I'm standing up, but I'm kind of like looking down or, but as soon as I'm on here, like we're kind of face to face, we're making eye contact, and maybe the phone camera is, you're going to be able to get a picture that's really good out of it. In some ways, sort of better than this Canon, I think. The other thing you can do is Shoot shows up in your toolbar as if I'll pull out my phone and show you this. So if I launch Shoot on my phone and then go into the live camera view. I'm just going to share this. So we'll go into demo mode. So this window here, you see my phone is here. So this is my phone and it's got all the remote controls for it. But here we can say send program feed to Shoot. And you can just select. So I can select Zoom here. I can select my Zoom meeting. And then that is going to appear like directly on my phone screen instead of like the camera feed. I'm going to be able to see. And also, so the benefits of that are, one, like you're not going to lose them behind another window, which like my dad's always doing this. He's like got me in the background somewhere and he can't, I'm showing him something, he's lost me. Yeah, and also because your eyes are going to be close to the camera lens, the eye contact is a little bit better. And then if you have got a CueCam doc, then your notes are going to show up there as well. So you can sort of remind yourself what to say without having to look down, just with a phone. So I've got I've got like a big teleprompter and a camera here, but you can literally just do it with a phone. And I think if you have a team. So the next thing, bring in your iPad. The video pencil is going to really make you stand out on these calls. So if you've got a screen share, like say let me just check what's currently showing in my arc before I share anything. But if I went to CueCam Presenter, if I wanted to share a website, hey, it's more me. I can just like press one button. I'm sharing my desktop, and now on the iPad, I could sort of. I mean, zooming in is a different one. Like you can zoom in from the iPad. You can sort of like draw on stuff. You can like use your laser pointer to do things, but also, if you have a moment of magic, you can sort of do the magic sparkles as well. So I think that's a fun way to sort of stand, and it definitely has helped me, stand out on these calls, just being able to sort of do a little magic sparkle. And then my last tip is just build a library. So with CueCam, you can share documents with other members of your team. So like build up a library of short scripts with notes, images and video clips, which anyone can bring in to whatever they're doing, so that they can like explain some feature or process. So you'll all look at, you'll be able to sort of draw on this library of these CueCam scripts, and then you're all just going to look a lot more knowledgeable about the details of your products thanks to the teleprompter. So you're going to be like reading stuff off the teleprompter, but your customer doesn't know that. It just looks like you know everything about this thing, and you're able to just come in with a video and like a demo at a moment's notice. So that's just another reason to use all this, and another reason it exists. And I do have some potential, this is for salespeople, one of my future features I've had in mind is a bit of a CueCam database, just be able to search in CueCam, how do you do this function? And it kind of goes to your company's repository of knowledge, quickly brings in the script, you press play and you've got those instructions. You could just like present them in exactly the way I'm presenting stuff here. But yeah, if this sounds interesting, CueCam's free. And, if you are sort of like in a company, if it sounds like something you could use, if you want a personalized demo, then, from me, and I made it, just like, here's my email. So, I'm sort of available for stuff like this to do my own sales, right? That's sort of like what I'm doing here. I know a lot. So that's the sort of video version of the blog post, basically. So hopefully that if you are in sales, if you have got a team, if you are kind of trying to find a way to do better, then hopefully that that helps you understand the possibilities. We are at 6:30. Let's have a look. So I'm just looking at the sidebar. I think we've seen a bit from John today, so I might. But no, I think we might actually have time for a bit of John today. I'm gonna sort of switch over my audio so that we can have a look at what John's been up on the YouTube. What's he been doing? So I've seen you've done a bit of. He's done a bit of. Let's go to speaker. Look, we've got some people today. I saw. Well, firstly, we've got an upload of that video, the full upload, which I know John did some sort of like some tidy up on. But I haven't watched. You can see I've watched a couple of these, but I haven't watched React live with CueCam. So let's have a look at what John's been up to here.
How many times have you watched something on YouTube that you wanted to talk about or share? Something sparked you in some way, and you wanted to give reaction or insight or expertise or a different point of view, and it just became so tedious to put something in Keynote or somehow share your screen in a Zoom meeting or whatnot. So I'm using a 2-card system here with CueCam, where I'm going to bring in this YouTube video and I'm going to play with it in YouTube and record it here using CueCam. This is 38 minutes long and it's a lot of people talking, but they do a good job. A lot of interesting topics. When I open up their description, they've got time codes and whatnot, but nothing that leads me to what I noticed they talked about, which I'd like to talk about here. So I'm going to ask for the transcript. It gives it to me up here. It gives me a little thing, and I can actually copy this entire transcript. Okay, everything I want is in there. I'm going to copy that. And now I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Review the following transcript and give me a synopsis in cards for a presentation, say 6 cards. Then it said thank you on my own, and I'm going to then paste in that. So that's the entire transcript of the entire 38 minutes, And let's see what I come up with. Benefits of streaming for PR and corporate communications. Introduction, key benefits, authenticity. Now, I don't know. Did it actually read? Oh, yeah, look, over 25% of internet users watch live streams weekly. That was one of the points that they brought up in this video. Traditional PR gives you static press releases. Modern PR integrates interactive elements, making the audience feel a part.
I feel like we're in a little bit in the chat GPT weeds here. So I'm just going to assume that when you're reacting to something that it's your own reaction. So let's just see what we're talking
I feel like
about.
live streaming was not very long ago this very niche concept, this very niche kind of weird corner of the internet. The idea of a live streamer was not something that held much cultural currency at all. But in the past year, we've seen like an explosion of live streamers and live streaming. I mean, we've seen like Aiden Ross, who is a big live streamer who ended up interviewing Donald Trump before.
This has just turned into, if you've seen the what's his name, we're doing like Michael reacts to John reacts to the podcast reacts. It's become recursive in the style of what's his face.
He was elected, and now Aiden Ross is all over the news. And we've seen Kai Cenat, who has built this gigantic following on Twitch. His last live stream reached 50 million viewers, which is around 15% of the United States population. And then here's this one stat that blew me away. More than a quarter of internet users today watch a live stream every week. So I would like to just get your take on live streaming as a medium. Why do you think we're seeing this explosion right now in media?
The honest answer is I don't know. I kind of feel like live streaming is to original scripted television or video, or just streaming what podcasting is to radio, and that is.
I love the concept of this, John. I love that you're talking about how to use like how you would use CueCam to react to something, but like that. I mean, the reaction is, I don't know if you've seen like VFX artists react. It's really all about like you're what are you bringing to it? Like, okay, here's you sort of got to show 5 seconds. He said this, and then pause it, and then go and I think this, and I think that, and I think this. I would say is that something that you were thinking, and I just sort of like missed it, or like can you kind of what were you kind of going for
you
there?
got it. No, I got started on some guy who had never heard a bunch of rock and roll songs, was listening to like Grateful Dead or whatever, and he was like, just, whoa, this stuff's really good, that kind of thing. And the reality is that what I'm trying to do is, how do I use YouTube in a presentation? It's the best library for learning. We all use it, but we never share it. So our one way to share it, and this guy made a lot of people watch artists that they didn't know about because his audience was not a rock and roll audience, and he was bringing those people in. And so that was my first attempt. And honestly, the reason to go OpenAI is because it takes so much of the heavy lifting out of exactly where do I go, what are the main points, how do I organize something quickly. And, I'm throwing it out there, and there's more to come. I mean, it's just, I think the tools where you want to share what's on your desktop, we're just at the beginning of that. It used to be, I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation, and that's it. But we have so much rich media now that we're not only consuming, but actively participating with. And I think AI with their new Canvas, for instance, I'm excited about that, because essentially it's suggesting things and you're deciding, I'm going to do something else, or I'm going to incorporate it, and you're building something together. You can now share that whole process.
I did the screen. I've been getting vague sort of thumbnails, bits, things that I can vaguely use for thumbnails. I think you've got a really good title for that video, and I think there should probably be a video that's like how to do reactions on YouTube with CueCam, and say, look, share the YouTube thing, if you had some notes, if you had a time code you wanted to jump to, you can just put that in the URL, jump to there, and then you can just like press record and go and like just be you, right? And then there is that sort of like, I would assume if you're reacting to something that you were listening to the whole thing, and I think CueCam makes it really easy to just grab that time code and just paste that onto a card and say, I want to talk about this bit, right? But I would sort of probably do that more as part of the process of listening to it, and because I'll usually have notes open, right? I'll have the notes app open, and like that's where I'll kind of like put my bullet points, and then that's one of the reasons that CueCam makes it really easy to like paste those notes from notes, so and they turn into cards in a way that, because really I think for reactions, like for making that kind of content, it's really all about just like keeping track of all the stuff that you want to kind of refer to, and it's about sort of collecting those references. And if you sort of didn't have your notepad on you, maybe you can help, the AI can help you trawl through it, but ideally like you build that muscle, you build that habit where you're kind of like, okay, right, let's just put that there in a form that's going to be really easy to bring into CueCam later. And I do have like a work in progress like iPhone app that I keep like starting a CueCam script and then being out and about and just wanting to add something to it, and that's in the pipeline at some point, like a mobile app, so that when you're listening to the podcast on your run and you're like, I really want to talk about this on a TikTok, you can just like throw that into a script on CueCam there and then like open it on the computer and do that kind of stuff. But for now, like just being able to sort of overcome that hurdle of getting the audio in from a YouTube video in a screen share. That's what we've got here, right? That's what we've got. And a record button. That's all you really need. And a face. And a personality.
And the time it took to do that whole thing was, I'm doing this in between all of my activities during the day. This is not my job. I do consume YouTube videos, and I do see things that I say, that triggers something I could talk about. And the reality of it is that it's been impossible to do before. I mean, those tools didn't exist. And here that took maybe an hour and a half, and, figuring out where to go and, what little clips to bring in. But I wanted to sort of document the process of doing it. Sort of how's a sausage being made.
It makes me think of the story at the beginning of what's the hotel, the Wes Anderson, the Grand Budapest Hotel, where the guy, you've got this guy talking to the camera like, I'm a writer. To be a writer, you say you're a writer and people bring you their stories. I kind of feel like, and then you just like write them. I think it's sort of the same with, you get into that habit, you build that muscle. You just sort of need somewhere to put those experiences, those things that you want to remember. And I feel like CueCam is just a really, if I'm like during the week, I'm trying to remember to add what I want to talk about on this stream into a CueCam doc, so that once it's in there, I know it's going to come up when I'm talking. It's like, okay, right, I wanted to talk about this. Here's that clip. But yes, thanks, John. Let's move on. So now, did you know what? I thought this was going to be a super long one because there were so many words in my sales thing. I'm gonna put the audio back to CueCam for Zoom because we have a couple of people. So next time is actually, all things going smoothly, is actually going to be next week, right? Because otherwise it would be Christmas, right? So next time's in 2 weeks, and in the meantime, you can always find us on squares.tv/Discord. I think we're coming up. I think we must have surpassed 300 people on there by now, and everyone, lots of people that know what's going on. So I'm just checking Discord. 44 online currently, and 258. So I think we're there. We've got 300 odd people on that Discord. So that's fun. Like, I've got a Discord with 300 people on it. But we talk about all this stuff on there. So to play us out, I thought I'd show you a bit more of that Ugress clip. So please go and check them out on YouTube. I put the link in there. But I just thought I'd like play a bit. I hope they don't mind. I need to like reply and say thank you. But I'll play you a little bit more of this because I just thought it was so impressive. I was like, wow, that's how you do a stage show with a laptop. So thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for just being interested. And let's let's get going. See you next time, hopefully next week. Thank you very much. All right, bye-bye.
These neon streets,